Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. You're welcome back to the Teju Babyface show, and it is time to bring to you my special guest on this episode. I wanted to say occasion, because it is an occasion. Look, I've agonized many times about how to introduce him. And because I don't have a teleprompter is what presenters usually read. Everything I do on Teju Babyface show, I do from memory. All right, so I just go in the direction of the Spirit leads, but I have a guide. But for this next guest, I have agonized long and hard about what to say. Should I write it down? So I've decided to yield myself to the Spirit. Look, I tell young people that one of the greatest things you can do for yourself in whatever industry, even entertainment, is to find a mentor. I've said that severally. It's why I wrote the book that I wrote. And I met mine several years ago. It was a meeting that changed my life thoroughly. This was pre the Teju Babyface show. This was 2007, 2008. It was a difficult period in my life. And by circumstances that only Providence could have arranged, I came to the attention of the gentleman I'm about to introduce to you. I don't have a lot of mentors. In fact, to the best of my knowledge, I have two. I have many advisors, I have several bosses, but I have two principal mentors. You have met one before, gentleman by the name of Sam Adeyemi. You're about to meet the next one. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Teju Babyface show with me, the one and only Mr. Leke, Alder. Mr. A.
No, you're embarrassing me now.
I'm embarrassing you. This has been 6 years coming.
You can say that again.
6 years coming.
And I almost missed this recording again.
You almost missed this. Yes, look, he just told me upstairs, Mr. Alders Father died about a year ago. And as one who has lost a father, you don't even know the kind of pain that you feel when you lose your father, especially if you were very close to your father. So he lost his, and he's been dealing with that and all that. And then, like he told me now upstairs, his wife's father just died as well on the same day in the same hospital. Please accept my condolences, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
But we celebrate on Teju Babyface show, so if it's not too much to ask you for, we're not going to be doing 1 minute silence. We're going to be doing 10 seconds of heavy clapping to celebrate Mr. Alders Father. Please stand with me and just 10 seconds of heavy clapping. All right, thank you. Thank you. May their souls continue.
Thank you so much, Teju. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was looking at my clock here to read 10 seconds, but you will notice all season that this clock doesn't work. Yes, this is Teju Babyface show where the time literally stops. Yeah, you need to clap for that. The time literally, when you're watching the show, the time literally stops. Aha. Okay, Mr. A. I consider the fact that you haven't been able to make it in the past 6 years a blessing. It's one of those all things work well. Because if you had come now, I wouldn't have been able to use you for what I want to do now.
Okay.
The first question is, do you even remember how we met? I tell people that story, but I realize now that it is one-sided. My friends know Leke Alder is your mentor. They have told that story, but do you remember how we met? Can you remember?
It's such a long time ago. It's like I tell my wife how we met. I always have this story that she was standing under a mango tree and I saw a very fine girl and I toasted her. So of course, that's my version of the story. So okay. I probably have a version about how we met too.
Oh, really? Well, let me tell you how we met.
Okay.
Aki probably remembers. I'll tell you how we met. During a difficult period in my career in 2008, I decided, because I was having it hard as a comedian. It was difficult for me as a comedian. I didn't look like your usual comedian. I was ajeboterish. I told my jokes mainly in English. It was a difficult time for me for about 8 years doing comedy. So in 2008, I decided that my USP, unique selling point, having read many books, was to brand myself the classic comedian, right? And so I decided to do a show called Comedy Meets Class at the Muson Center. It was not going to be paid. I was going to invite the who is who in town, the MDs of the company. The idea was that by the time they see me do my jokes with class and with panache, then they will call me for all their events. So I had never met most of them, so I wrote letters. Now, I remember that I attended a course just about a week before, Oh, now you are remembering. Oh, it's coming back to you now. Okay, great. Where they were teaching us branding, and they said that the secret of branding was that when your picture comes up, people must be able to say what you do. So they brought up Tiger Woods. Everybody in the class said golf. They brought up Michael Jackson. Everybody said music. Michael Jordan. Everybody said basketball. Then they brought a picture of a man I had never seen. I had never seen him. But it seemed everybody in the class knew who he was. He was bent to one side in a chair. And everybody said, Leke, Alder, branding. So as I was writing my invitation letters, I decided that, well, this man that everybody knows seems to have a lot of money. Let me write. So I wrote a letter to him. The letter was the last one to be delivered because I didn't know where to find him. I carried that letter around in my car for weeks. The white envelope got dirty at the back of my car. I had to change that envelope. Finally, a friend told me that he knew somebody that knew their office. I gave them the letter. I gave them the letter on Sunday. On Monday morning, I got a call. First thing in the morning. The person who called said, hello, is that Teju Babyface? Mr. Leke Alder would like to see you in his office by 2 p.m. tomorrow. They didn't ask me if I was busy. They didn't ask me what I was doing. They didn't ask me if I was in Lagos. They didn't ask me if I had a life. The way I got that letter lets me know that contrary to the spirit in which I wrote it, the person was not about to give me money. That I had done something wrong in that letter. And I got to the office. They sat me in the boardroom. And he came out dressed like this. 5 minutes up. Hello, Teju. My name is Leke Alder. And then he went to a blackboard. And for 1 hour, this man deconstructed my life, my career, and my ministry. For 1 full hour, told me all the things I was doing wrong, brought out the letter. By the time he was bringing out the letter I wrote, even me, I was ashamed of the letterhead at that point. The ink was fading and all that. He totally discombobulated. In fact, I was just like this throughout. A part of my mind was, I was just asking for money. And then he said, he made me a proposition that changed my life. He said, I can mentor you. He said, I don't do it for a lot of people, but something about you speaks to me. I have seen you perform, and I think I like you. If you want me to mentor you, let me know. Go and think about it. This is supposed to be a talk show. I'm supposed to ask him questions. He's been here for about 5 minutes. I've not asked one.
I'm enjoying it.
Oh, you're enjoying it? Okay, great. So the first question I want to ask, I have always wondered. Many people have tried to meet you through me. Many people have tried to meet you through other means. And you don't allow many people to come through. Not because you're bad or because you're very guarded, but because you don't have the time. I'm curious as to why you called me. I didn't call you. You called me. You made me the offer to mentor me. Why? What about me? Why? Why me?
Well, a lot of the things that we call coincidence are just design orchestrations of omniscience.
You have started. We're about to get there. They are orchestrated. Please continue, sir.
So it's just one of those random things. You never can tell. And life is made up of crossings. And you meet one person and it just changes your life. You know, and that's just the way it is.
Let me tell you one of the most corporal things. One of the most corporeal things, rather. One of the most corporeal things. I said corporal, it's sergeant. One of the most corporeal, that's right, corporeal. How do you pronounce that word? I got that word.
Corporeal.
Yeah, corporeal. One of the most corporeal things that our meeting yielded, our mentorship, or his mentorship of me, is this Teju Babyface logo that you see. This was designed by Alder Consulting. This logo that you see was designed by Alder Consulting. Mr. Alder, you are a unique person. There's a question I've always wanted to ask you that Liver has never allowed me ask when I'm in your office, but now that you're on my show, I can ask. The first thing I noticed about you is that you speak uniquely. You speak as if out of the corner of your mouth.
Yeah.
And so when I read your books, I read there that you had facial paralysis as a younger man. Yeah. I won't say as a young man because you're still young. As a younger man. Now, I get that. What really chilled my heart was you said that the doctors did not even know what caused it.
That's right.
Please explain that that something can happen to you and it defies all medicine.
Well, I studied law. You know, I decided to be a lawyer at the age of 10. I worked so hard and I became a lawyer, you know. I went to school on scholarship and all that. And then I went on youth corps and I woke up one morning and my face was paralyzed. And I went to the hospital. I was told it was called Bell's palsy. Now, nobody knows what causes Bell's palsy. It has no cause, it has no cure. And nobody tells you that when you're in your 20 or when you're 21 or something, you know. And it was a terrible moment in my life, you know, but that's where my faith came through, you know. And it was, I couldn't talk, I couldn't smile. But I trusted God to heal me, and that's exactly what He did. That's why I can talk today.
How long was this period? For how long was this?
Well, the initial phase lasted 6 months, in which what happened was that the nerve here was dead. You know, but I read in my Bible that Jesus cured many that were sick of the palsy, and that if the Spirit that raised up Jesus from the dead dwells in me, that it will quicken or make alive my mortal body. So I said, well, I don't care. You know, palsy is palsy, whether Bell's palsy or paralysis. And it's such a faith story, and but those are difficulties that a young man shouldn't face too early in life.
Great. Brilliant. Now, for somebody who is shy, because you're shy, your lifestyle is weird. Permit me. You're shy. You're very guarded. You don't like going out. On one episode of Teju Babyface, I asked you who knew what a teetotaler meant, or a teetotaler as it's called. I got that from his book. He was the one that wrote that he's a teetotaler, a notorious one. He doesn't drink alcohol. He doesn't go out socially. For one who is very guarded, you're almost a recluse. In fact, you told me that your dream was to build a tall building and consult. Your offices will be on the floors, but the topmost floor. You will live on the penthouse. You will wear jeans and T-shirt and slippers and come downstairs. And am I getting it right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So for one who is almost a recluse, how is it that you are a superstar on social media, Twitter, all of a sudden? A young girl, and I mean young, a young lady entered my office just last week, and I have your picture in my office, as you know. There is you, oh, you don't know? Okay, I should have done this in my office. I would have scored more points. I have a frame of you, I have Pastor Sam and all that. And this young girl entered, and I have Ali Baba, I have Richard Mufedamijo, I have T.A. Julius Agu, those, you know, who have affected my life on my way up. And this young girl came in, and she screamed, "Ah!" And I thought that was because of RMD. I said, RMD? She said, no. I said, well, maybe Ali Baba. She said, no. And she pointed at you, Leke Alder. And this girl is 19. I'm like, how do you know Mr. Alder? She said, I follow him on Twitter. His tweets and you've been there. How many followers on Twitter now?
Last year, when we started, we had 2,000 followers. Today, we have over 116,000 followers.
116 over. So for one who carries himself with a lot of respect, who likes his own privacy, how are you able to go on Twitter, this medium where people just speak anyhow?
It's very simple. First of all, a lot of young people write me, asking me to mentor them. And it's virtually impossible. You have an idea of my schedule. I'm always traveling. I'm always at a strategy session. You know, I'm always doing something. My corporate work is very, very busy. Then I have my speaking engagements. So the only way that I can reach the young people was to use a mass medium, you know, where I can reach everybody at once. And Twitter, for me, if I could serialize a letter on Twitter, I felt I would get through to young people. And the letters became a hit. Before I knew it, we were in 86 countries and on 5 continents with those letters. In the last 2 years, I've personally answered over 4,500 emails.
Woo! You actually write them down. I came to your office, and it seems you have the emails printed out for you so that you can read them.
Yeah. And I'm very careful about the kind of advice that I, for reasons which I don't know, young people look up to me. And I consider that a very, very onerous and very serious responsibility. Because the advice that you give a young man at that stage can either make or mar the person. I didn't have the advantage that you have of calling somebody a mentor in life. So I had to feel my way through life. And not all of us are born on the right side of the track. Some of us are born on the other side of the track. And I started business deficient. I started life deficient. And I just wanted to pass and share the things that I've learned along the way. And not this... You know, when you succeed in life, we give young people a glamorized summary of life so that the young people don't know how you arrived at where you are because there's no path. You've wiped out your past. You're now only talking about your present. They just know you are managing director. How did you become managing director? Nobody knows. So you are a hopeless situation, as it were, because the young people cannot relate to your beginning. They can only relate to your end. I'm particular about sincerity and honesty. I think that's what gives people inspiration. I think that's what gives people hope. And I think I try to live a simple life. You know, I honestly, I prefer to just dress in jeans, you know, and a white shirt or T-shirt or something. And life is not hard. We just take it too hard.
Okay. See, I'm doing it. You've been here for more than 10 minutes. I'm doing it. I still have many questions.
I'm in it today.
Yeah, but I'll pick just two more.
Okay.
Just 2 or 3 more. I'll try. You came to the defense of Korede Bello.
That's right.
On the same social media.
That's right.
Korede Bello goes to perform Godwin in a church. I don't get a lot. Godwin. Anything you do, now Godwin. And some Christians took him to task. Both him and the parish that invited him. How can you call a secular musician to desecrate the altar of God? And you went in defense of, probably not Korede, maybe he was inside, but in defense of the whole, you went in defense of him in a manner of speaking.
That's right.
Please, what was your stance in a nutshell, and why did you do that?
It's funny that at the time of this incident, I'd never met Korede Bello in my life. I met him about a month after on the plane. You know, I was going to Abuja, and that was the first time I met him. So I didn't defend him because it was him. I defended him because he represented the hope of a generation. You know, here was a very, very young man who had become successful, and people were going to tear him down. And I just couldn't stand that. It was wrong. It was morally reprehensible. And it was unabashedly shameful. Not only that, theologically the people were wrong. I'm well familiarized with my Bible, and I know they don't understand that we're in the order of Melchizedek, the priest-king equation, in which you have the doctor priest, you have the comedian priest, you have the pharmacist priest, and all those things. So they are looking at the priesthood in the Old Testament, and they were using the Old Testament model for the New Testament. That's never going to fly, and that's where they were wrong.
Great. The theme defending Korede Bello, the treatise that you wrote, another word I got from you. Before I met you, I never knew what a treatise was. I never knew what the word to elucidate was or to extrapolate. All those things have rubbed off on me now. And there's a statement of yours I like to use a lot to bamboozle people. You have to dig down to the minimum structural skeleton of your intendment. They never get it, yes. As a protege, I understand what it means. Credibility deficient entrepreneur, credibility enabled, we know those things. Okay, so I've been able to distill from the last 2 questions one final question. You're a man of, as I've said, a man of grace. You're a man who gives respect and gets respect. You mind your own business. You don't go where you're not sent. You're like that. You're very private. And yet I see people say all sorts of things to you on social media. For example, on this one of the tattoos, some guy wrote something long, some others just tweet anything. It's not bad, as if it's not bad enough that they are saying these things. So you seem to have a thick skin. I don't have it. No, I don't have it. If you say something untoward towards me, I sort of take it personally. You seem to have been able to remove your pride and yourself from what you do on Twitter to the degree that you actually take your time.
That's right.
Not to abuse back, but to reply and to set them right.
That's right.
How do you do this?
Well, the first thing is that insult is not an argument.
Insult is not?
It's not an argument.
Okay.
And the most important thing is that we engage in discourse. Now, youth by its very nature has foolishness embedded. That's why Solomon says.
The youth by its very nature.
Yeah, because Solomon said that, foolishness is bound in the heart of a child. So we know that foolishness and youthfulness have a concomitality that is... And I was young once, we did stupid things, we say stupid things. Now, you don't take that away from a young man, because that, in another dimension, is boldness. And in his boldness, in order to attack life and to take risk in business. However, you modulate that energy by telling him that, look, you don't need to be rude to anybody. No, not just because I'm older than you, I'm old enough to be your father. You respect everybody. If you know me, I respect everybody. I don't care who it is. I respect everybody. And that culture of respect is something we need to propagate.
Thank you very much, sir. All right. We try to give gifts on our show. Okay. We always try to give gifts. You taught me once when I brought a gift to you, and I was apologizing about the, apparent inexpensiveness of the gift, given who you were at that time, and I was a hustler, that it was a small gift and that you should please accept it. I was bringing it from Shogunle to Victoria Island, and you said to me that, no, it's not about the gift, it's the thought that counts, and I never forgot that. So on our show, we try to give something to everybody that comes. So first of all, from our friends at Lagos in Your Face, we have your picture taken. We have the picture of every guest taken on set. While they're here. The picture is taken while you're talking to me, and it is actually framed on set, and we present it to you before you go. Lagos in Your Face is your online portal for all social happenings in Lagos, and it also comes with a beautiful leather bag in which you can place it. Mr. Alder?
I'm going to put this in my den.
Oh, your den. I'm honored. Your den is the place to be. Thank you. We're not done, Mr. Alder. Please sit. We're not done. We're not done. Please sit. We're not done. We'll carry this for you before you go. And then my wife, of whom you always ask.
That's right.
My wife, of whom you always ask.
She's my daughter.
Yes, she's his daughter. Given how I was coached when I was going to marry the person I was going to marry her. She said that Mr. Alder's wife is so beautiful. One of the other things that you said to me that I wanted to ask you, but I don't have the time to ask, is that your wife is beautiful, but you never saw her beauty when you were going to marry her.
That's right.
There was people who were telling you, there's no time. Mr. Alder, from our friend Kasa Dunia, she's in the audience. Yetunde is in the audience somewhere. Yetunde, please stand. She does the most beautiful beads. That is Yetunde there. She said to give these beads to Mrs. Alder. They're quite very, very. I don't know if the camera can see them. They're quite gorgeous. Yetunde said to give the gifts, these beads, to Mrs. Alder.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I
will also
carry
this for you,
That's
sir.
so expensive.
Yes, it is actually. It's heavy. Thank you very much. And Mr. Alder, I know you, where your fashion taste is often it's pace-setting. So I have these friends who make socks in Nigeria. They actually make the ones I'm wearing now. Let me put them where you can see them. These socks are actually made in Nigeria by my friend All Socks, Shola All Socks. And he has asked that we give you a couple of pairs of socks as well, Mr. Alder. So this is for you as well. Thank you very much for coming on the show. Yes, there's the socks inside. Actually, there's supposed to be two. I think I wore one of yours. I'm going to replenish it from my stash.
With interest.
Yes, with interest. Mr. Alder, thank you very much for coming. This was an honor for me. God bless you. Stay with us on Teju Babyface Show. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned for more because the Teju Babyface Show will be back after these messages.
Okay.
Korede Bello, Omolokpe, right here on the Teju Babyface show. As you don't see my face, now God you win. Yes, keep watching Teju Babyface show. Mega Superstar Boy says so.